My mom got married to Alan 2 years ago. I, 15 female, was 13 at the time, and Alan's 2 kids were Emma, 9 female, and Noah, 3 male. Noah was diagnosed with cancer last year, and my mom and her husband were told there's some kind of different treatment he could get in another country, and if they could raise the money, it would be better for Noah than the treatments available in the U.S. My mom and Alan could not afford it, so they have been sending him to treatment here and saving for Noah's treatment. They made a lot of cutbacks and asked that Emma and I give over any money we get so they can afford this. They have about 70% or something now, and that has come from cutting out a lot. We eat very basic meals, they canceled our internet, and we didn't do anything for our birthdays or Christmas since the saving started. Any money that comes into the house goes on essentials, or the treatment fund. My dad died 9 years ago, and my paternal family stayed part of my life. They know what has been going on, and they have been buying me little treats and taking me out to eat when they can. They also give me money every couple of weeks so I can have something if I ever need anything. I have been hiding that money because I know I would be told to give it up. I carry it everywhere because Emma is the type to snoop and then tell her dad. She has asked me before why I don't babysit to help make more money for her brother. She would work if she could, but she's only 11. I spent some of the money from my grandparents over the weekend. I got my hair cut and I bought my best friend a gift for her birthday. I also got some food and spent some time at my dad's grave. My mom noticed my haircut and asked where the money came from, and she realized I was lying when I said I had been with my grandparents, and they took me because I forgot they were out of town. So I told her they gave me some money to get some stuff done. She told me a haircut was not a need and how selfish could I be. Alan heard her scolding me, and he jumped in and asked what the hell was wrong with me. He told me this family has to pull together for Noah, and I am acting like I don't care whether Noah gets this treatment or not. Of course, by the end of the day, Emma heard and freaked out. But then my mom ran into my best friend's mom a couple of days ago, and she told Mom my gift to my best friend was so sweet and thoughtful. I was sat down and yelled at for spending the money on not just me but on others. Alan asked me how I could give the money for a gift that means nothing when it could have gone to save my brother's life. I yelled back that it's not my job to pay for Noah's treatments, and I'm already sacrificing. But I refused to go all out the way they want me to. I told them the money came from my family who was nothing to them, and they need to let it go. Alan called me a selfish little bitch, and he told me I should be ashamed of my repulsive behavior. Now Emma keeps telling me I'm a bad person. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for telling my roommate that her anorexia is not my problem? We are both 23-year-old females. It's been getting into the 90s Fahrenheit where we live, so I've been turning on the air conditioner when I get home. I also work a physically intense outdoor job, so I come home really sweaty and exhausted from the heat. The apartment will stay cool enough for me to fall asleep, but then later on I'll wake up in the middle of the night completely drenched in sweat. I'll then get up and find out that my roommate has been switching the AC off while I'm sleeping. This really upsets me because it's been making me really dehydrated and tired to begin with from not sleeping well, and it's been impacting my work. She's unemployed right now, so I thought she might have been hung up about the power bill. When I finally talked to her about it, I explained that I'm already very sensitive to heat to begin with, and that, because we're fortunate enough to have AC, I want to enjoy it when I get home, especially after a long day at work, and that the heat is causing problems for me. I even offered to foot some of her share of the power bill if she was really that concerned about it. But then she said that she turns it off because the apartment gets too cold. I should add that our AC is set at 70 and has never been moved lower than that. I told her that she should just use some blankets or put a sweater on if it was really bothering her, because the heat is unbearable. She then countered by saying that, because she's in recovery from anorexia, she's really sensitive to cold and that I'm not prioritizing her needs. I then responded by saying, I'm sympathetic to your situation, but that is your problem and not mine, and it is starting to have a negative impact on me, and we need to find some middle ground here, because I can't take off my skin when it gets too hot. She then got extremely upset and angry and told me that I was being ableist and insensitive. I'm kind of bothered by this, because I've also had struggles with eating disorders in the past. So am I the asshole here? Additional info from a comment I made so it doesn't get buried. I see a lot of people making the assumption that I'm completely unwilling to compromise with her, or that I'm set on having it at 70. During our talk, I offered to adjust the temperature, but she wants it completely off, not adjusted off all the way, and that was what made me angry.
Am I the asshole for ruining a baby name? I'm Brazilian, but I've been living in the US for 3 years. My first language is Brazilian Portuguese. I have a 4-year-old son, and I'm pregnant with a girl due in May. My son is friends with a girl whose mother, I'll call her Becca, is also pregnant. She's due a couple weeks before me, and is also expecting a third girl. Since we take our kids on playdates almost weekly, we frequently talk about our pregnancies. Becca is into unique names. Not a uniques or a trade days, but names that she and her husband create. It's not my style, but she managed to come up with genuinely nice names, both her older daughters, so there was never really a reason for me to say anything. This time, Becca and her husband had a lot of trouble coming up with a new name. She first brought this up last December. For months, they tried to create something that sounded good, with no success. We took our kids on a playdate at a park this weekend. When we sat down for a snack, Becca excitedly told me they'd finally settled on a name. I was really happy for her, and asked what they'd chosen. Narina. To those who don't know, that's Portuguese for nostril. I managed to control myself, and told her it sounded lovely. But my son let out a giggle. My husband and I are raising him bilingual, so he speaks Portuguese, and Becca wanted to know why. I tried to brush it off, but she kept insisting. Eventually, I told her that while Narina could be a lovely name, it was also the Portuguese word for nostril. Becca seemed really sad to hear that. She said she'd think of something else, but had fallen in love with Narina. After we went home, Becca's husband called me. He was furious at me for ruining the only name they had agreed on. Apparently, he had a fight with Becca because she told him she wanted to think of something else. He argued they'd never visit Brazil anyway, so they shouldn't have to change the name, but Becca refused to use Narina. My husband agrees that their fight is not my fault, but thinks I didn't need to tell Becca anything, since Americans are unlikely to know what Narina means. Am I the asshole?